That's wonderful. What took me my attention lately was I have a friend in Ecuador. Her name is Erica Scotti. She sent you hi. She said
Hi,
hi.
Erica.
And she started to post saying about access consciousness and other person too. And I started to see the faces of everybody. The smile is so authentic. The faces have another expression that I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you noticed it. And that, that what a gift. And that is one of the things I notice also with the people that are in access, the smile is genuine. It comes from their being. And once again, I did so many things, and I know so many people now, where they do this smile where they're like, I'm happy. And I'm like, it doesn't feel happy, but this is just, you smile because you are genuinely happy and grateful for the world. And also the wonderful thing about access classes is that you're surrounded by people that are going there too, that actually desire something different, and they desire to do something different other than normal. It's kind of like everybody else in the world is trying to fit in, and we're going, hey, you know what, we realize we don't fit in, but let's have a good time not fitting in, and let's invite people that don't feel normal to come and play. Because if you feel normal, and it's working for you, that's great. I think you should have it, and that's awesome. There's just a whole slew of misfits in the world that feel like normal doesn't work for them very well, but they've never found something that's different enough to match their weird personality.
That is perfect, because in your book, oh my gosh,
being you, changing the world.
Changing the world. You also said about that, to be authentic, to be yourself, but this is really difficult sometimes, no?
Oh, in the world we live in, it's one of the most challenging things to choose. And it's so interesting because you would think being you would be the easiest thing to choose. And yet it seems to be one of the most challenging. And most of us don't even really know what's true for us. We learned as young kids to try to do all the right stuff. So it's like we've tried to set our life on autopilot, press the red button and let whatever we've had as our points of view before control our life as though it works. And what's funny is, most people get to a certain point where they're like, this doesn't work. I thought it worked. I wanted to pretend it doesn't work. This autopilot thing is not serving me,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So this is about getting off the autopilot.
Wow, I love this. I really love that. And also you talk about possibility, no? Because
Yes.
this is something that I used always to say, everything is possible. But sometimes, sometimes I am waiting for this possibility.
Oh, I love that. That is so accurately put. You're like, I know everything is possible, but seriously, when's it going to show up? Well, that's one of the beautiful things about access for me is we really do not only talk about possibilities, but we show people how to actualize them. And actualize is having it actually show up. And so but depending on each situation with each person, it may be a different way of going about it. But one of the things that can really help is if you start asking, there's a couple questions that you want to ask sort of continuously if you can. One is, what else is possible here? Another one is, what is it going to take to change this? And actually, let me modify the first question. What else is possible here that I've never considered before? Because whenever you ask a question always opens up a doorway of possibilities. An answer always closes them. Or an answer, with an answer or a judgment or a conclusion or a decision, we're stuck with that answer, that judgment, that decision or conclusion, and nothing else can come into our awareness about what else might be possible. And what's funny is, from the time we were little kids, we were taught to get the right answer in school, in home, so we have this weird idea that there's some right answer out there if we can just get the perfect formula. But, I know people who tried for 85 years to get the perfect formula, and then they died. And about 3 days before they died, they went, wait a minute, I did it all wrong. I should have just lived as me, And so it's an interesting thing. So if we ask, what else is possible that I've never considered? Also, if we ask, how does it get any better than this? And anybody who knows anybody in Access has heard them ask this question. And it can get annoying sometimes because they ask it a lot. But the reason you ask the question is to open up, how does it get any better? You can ask it when something good happens or when something bad happens. How does it get any better than this? Makes a bad situation better, makes a good situation even better. Because what most people do when something good happens is they go, yay, thanks. And then they stop the energy. And so what happens is if you're willing to ask, how does it get even better? How does it get any better than this? You start to open that space where it can get better and better and better. And then one other question that could be really helpful is, what's right about me I'm not getting? Because we tend to go around with a lot of wrongness of us. And unfortunately, we can change it, but we really need to ask, what's right about me I'm not getting? And remember, whenever you ask a question, you open up possibilities. An answer and a judgment always shuts them down. And we don't realize how many answers and how many conclusions and how many judgments we do on a daily basis, both of ourselves and other people. And we don't realize how many we're picking up from other people around us, because we can feel it, we can perceive it, we think it must be ours because it feels like it's in our head. Well, it's not in your head, it's out there, but your head picks up on what's in their head. So we need to do something different. And that's where the other tool, the who does this belong to, comes in.
Yes, and because we do the question, no? But after we do the question, then we start to think in the answer.
Yep.
Something that we have to control.
Exactly.
The book, no, that we have to wait for the answer, not thinking what answer will be.
There's either, so here's a couple things. Is what we tend to do, like you said, we tend to get we tend to ask the question, and then we start looking for answers. Is this the answer? Is this the answer? How does it get any better than this? That. Well, no, none of that is necessarily the answer. We need to recognize that the universe actually has infinite awareness of possibilities. And what we're looking to do is open up possibilities. And so rather than looking for the answer, be patient and allow the answer to show up for you. And recognize that most of us have been taught that we need to control our lives in order to make them work. And we need to control ourselves, and we need to control our impulses, and we need to control our urges, and we need to do control of everything. But what that form of control is, what it does, it keeps your life like the size of a postage stamp, because the only thing you're willing to have in your life is something you are directly in charge of. And what we found in Access is, as you start to allow yourself to go beyond the need to control every aspect of everything, that's when the receiving occurs. Because if you're saying, no, I've got to control it, I've got to be the one in charge, well, when does the universe and the consciousness that's all around us, when does that get to contribute to you? It doesn't. And so in that, what happens if we let consciousness contribute? And I say consciousness because, well, we do access consciousness. Our definition of consciousness is where everything exists. So it's that space where everything and everyone exists, and no one and nothing is judged. Whew, wouldn't that be a wonderful world to live in? And so all of that space where, and there's consciousness all around us, every plant, every animal, every tree, the chair you're sitting in. It's like, and once again, Einstein told us every molecule has consciousness. But if we're trying to control everything, we shut it out and we go, no, I'm responsible for it all. Well, responsibility is the ability to respond. You're not responsible for it all, but you're also, most of us are not receiving nearly as much as we could that would allow it to be a lot easier. So we have this idea that we need to do it all. And we have ways of changing all of this in Access actually really quickly. One of the things I really love about Access is how fast the change is. Because, you know, I've worked on things in other modalities for years that never changed. And I come to Access, and sometimes in one conversation they change. But once again, it's because we have the tools and the way of going about changing the past, the way of this embracing of possibilities, because we, as the beings we are, should have way more possibilities than we see show up.